All right, Brian. How you doing over there, buddy? Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but we have some Vegas royalty in the house right now.
Oh, yeah?
Are you aware of that?
I believe so, yes.
Have you seen the movie Casino, by the way?
Who has not?
Exactly. It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one of those movies where if it's on TV, I have to stop what I'm doing and sit down and just watch the entire thing. It was that good of a movie. And I am thrilled to have Stephanie Rosenthal here in studio, the daughter of Frank Rosenthal and Geri McGee, who is portrayed by Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone as Sam Rothstein and Ginger, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here. This is awesome.
You're welcome.
How do you feel about my shirt, by the way?
I like it.
I'm
very, very cool.
Listen, if I'm going to wear this shirt in any episode, it's going to be this episode right here.
I love it.
First of all, I've seen you recently a lot on Vegas Pauly C's posts recently. How did you guys hook up?
We have a mutual friend in common.
Yeah.
So that's how we connected, was through our mutual friend he's from Miami, where I
Nice.
used to live in Miami.
Okay.
And so that's how we connected.
We have Vegas Pauly C sitting over there looking like a proud parent watching the two of us right now. I love it. This is so exciting. So I'm going to ask you a few questions just about you personally. I just want to get to know you a little bit better. Do you live here in Vegas right now?
I live in California.
Live in California.
Orange County.
Nice. Orange County is beautiful. We actually both, we're not together, but Brad and I both used to live in Orange County.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
It is. It really is. It's hard to leave Orange County and be happy with anywhere else after that, just because you have everything there. You got the beach, you got the snow if you want to drive a few hours, you got beautiful people, fun things to do. It's awesome.
It's paradise.
Yeah. How long have you been in Orange County for?
Well, I lived there as a kid when I swam there after I moved from Vegas. And then I came back in 2015 after I revisited with my coach, who kind of convinced me to move back to California and start working again in swimming.
Are you still into swimming?
Yeah, I work in swimming.
That's fantastic.
I do.
Good for you. That's great. Yeah, you got those long arms too. I love that for you.
Yep.
That's great. I got the long, lanky arms. So that's why when I play pickup basketball, I'm usually pretty good at blocking people and all that stuff.
They come in handy.
They do. They really do. First off, what are your thoughts on the movie? How did you feel about it the first time you saw it?
Well, I lived it,
Yeah.
and those are my parents. So that's a tough question because that's just the way that I grew up. My father made sure, and my mom, that I had a very normal childhood. A lot of the speculation is that I had this wild childhood, but I really didn't, because my parents did a great job of keeping me focused on my swimming, and I wasn't in the casinos in the thick of it, so to speak. So my dad was just always a really great father and focused on me just, doing swimming and going to school like any other kid. So I really didn't understand the magnitude of my father until the movie came out in 1995.
Yeah.
And that's when I had more questions, and I guess where I really tried to understand who he was. I did know growing up as a kid that he had to be powerful or important, because I had so many people walking up to me on the pool deck making comments to me like, your dad's a this and he's a that. And so as a kid, I did ask him a few questions about what he did for a living and so forth, but really didn't understand quite how big he was until my early 20s.
Which part of town did you live in when you were much younger, when you were a child with the family?
In Vegas?
Yeah.
We lived in the Las Vegas Country Club.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's great. What was, percentage-wise, what would you say the movie is accurate in terms of what actually happened?
I think that Robert De Niro did a great job. He portrayed my father very well. His mannerisms were uncanny. He spent a lot of time with my father, though. Yeah, so he would fly into, Florida and spend a lot of time with my father in his home, studying him and trying to perfect his character. He went to the restaurant that my father owned and spent quite a bit of time there. And I also worked there, so I was there for that and kind of saw all that going on. But when I did watch the movie, it was a little, gave me the goosebumps to see how well he
Nailed that role.
yeah, he just his
Mannerisms.
mannerisms, the way he stood and how he oversaw things, and the way he looked at things, the way he folded his arms. It was just kind of gave me the chills when I watched that. So I think he did a great job. Sharon Stone didn't have the same opportunity that De Niro had because my mom is deceased. So I would say that she did the best with the information she had. And I think most of that came from my father. So she was trying to, act out, my mother, but having never met her or not knowing a lot about her.
At that time, do you feel like your father gave an accurate representation of your mother and the mannerisms and how she acted? Or do you feel that there was a lot of it that wasn't seen or represented properly by
I'm sure my father was always accurate, like to the T. I'm sure he was very accurate.
Yeah.
And, what the director, Martin Scorsese, wanted to portray, and, Universal Studios is a different story.
Right.
Because they want to sell movie tickets. So it's always going to be embellished. We all know that.
Sure.
So I get asked that question all the time about my mom. She wasn't quite as the movie depicted her to be. My mom was amazing and didn't have quite the habits that she's, shown to have in the movie. But that's Hollywood, so
That's showbiz.
Yeah, that's show business.
How do you feel Sharon Stone did as an actress in that role? Did you feel like she not necessarily accurately representing your mother, but just being that character? How do you feel like she did?
I think she did a great job. Yeah, I know that the clothes from the movie were very important. Like, I think she dressed very well and dressed similar to my mom. And personality-wise, I think my mom had a little bit different personality than Sharon Stone did, but I think she did a great job.
Did you see the movie as soon as it came out, or did you take a little time to get yourself ready for it?
I just watched the movie a couple days ago.
For the first time?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I have so many more questions now. That's incredible. I had no idea.
Yeah.
First off, why? Why did with the obvious answer being it hits close to home for you, obviously. But why?
I was very, very close to my father. I was like his best friend, so I know everything about the guy.
Yep.
I feel like I've heard it firsthand. There's also topics that my dad isn't going to talk to a lady about, and
Sure.
I'm a lady. So, that's reserved for conversations like Pauly or Alan. That's boys chatter.
Yeah.
So, I think that, I think I'm very grounded. I am very impressed by my dad, and I always knew he was a fascinating person. I took in everything that he ever tried to teach me, and he was really big on that. Like, his whole goal with me was he wanted me to be able to navigate life without him.
Yeah.
And so I think everyone knows, like, my dad's a street smart guy. Book smart, yes, he was incredibly bright. But if he's going to teach anybody anything, it's going to be about how to live on the streets.
Yep.
And that's what he taught me. So I think that's more important than anything. My dad was just like a great education for me. And he was just an amazing dad. He put a lot of time into me. And really just wanted to make sure that when he checked out, I was good.
Yeah.
So
He made you a priority.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as watching the movie, I felt like it was all right in front of my face, like my entire life. And I've seen clips of the movie before a couple of days ago. Some of them I like, some of them I don't like. But Alan, our mutual friend, said, because he's a good friend of mine, he said, did you watch the movie? And I thought, oh, I better go watch it. So, so I watched it,
Yep.
it's like, I mean, it's a great movie,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but like I said, there's certain scenes I don't like
Yeah.
that I don't want to look at.
Sure.
So, you know, he is my father and I am his daughter. So certain things that, you know, certain records I don't want to play back, but.
How was your dad's reaction to the movie?
My dad was a businessman. So, I mean, my dad was also, I think, grounded, very grounded. He knew his stuff about gaming and sports handicapping and betting. But my dad just wanted to make money no matter what. So I don't think that, I don't think he was quite as impressed as maybe everybody else
The
was.
general public was, yeah.
It was, for him, it was just like, you know, how much money are you going to pay me to do this? So
What does it take to have that mindset? Is that something that you feel like you're born with, to have that mindset of just being so focused and honed in on one specific thing? Like your dad, for example, very street smart, very book smart, but really honed in on being able to make money. Do you feel like that's something that's acquired, or is that just something you're born with that just kind of is part of you the whole life?
no, I think you're born with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, we're Jewish. I'm very culturally Jewish, not necessarily very religious, but there's always a joke amongst the Jews that, like, as far as the men go, like, people will say that the Jews don't know how to dance, but they can own the dance club. So,
I never heard that. I like that.
so, you know, they don't need to know how to dance,
Yeah.
you know? So no, I think you're born with that. I think that's an innate quality, and everyone in my family's like that.
Yeah.
So
What
Yeah.
is you brought up the fact that your parents were very supportive of you, especially when it came to, you know, swimming and you know being active and trying to have a normal life. When did you realize that you probably didn't have a normal childhood? Like, what was the first thing that happened that came to mind? You're like, maybe my parents aren't as normal as my other, not normal,
Yeah.
but common as the other.
Well, I started swimming when I was 6 years old. Here at the Las Vegas Sandpipers was the first swim team I swam on, which is one of the best swim teams in the country now. I'm very proud of them.
Sure.
When I was 6 years old, I had kids walking up to me on the pool deck saying, like, you know, your dad's a bookie, he's a this, he's a that, he's a mobster. And so, you know, as any normal kid, I'd go home and say, I said, Dad, you know, do you sell books for a living? And he said, no.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what do you do? And he said, don't worry about it.
Really?
So, you know, and then, you know, the mob, referring to the mob was always something that people commented on. So I think that I knew from a very young age that he, you know, I had a different childhood, but I just think that swimming was, I guess, a blessing to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was swimming 6 hours a day from a very young age, which is like a full-time job. And my dad was like, I told Pauly, he handled my swimming career the same way he handled running a casino. He was always looking for the angle.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I would not have been as good of an athlete as I was without him, because he was just always looking for the edge, and it you know, really helped me. And also instilling that mentality in me as well. I mean, he would write me notes in the morning before 5 a.m. swim practice. I'd come down for breakfast, and there would be a note on my breakfast plate, you know, telling me, like, giving me a few highlights with my training.
That's incredible.
And yeah, and you know, it's the same way that he would bet on a football game. It's like he wanted the inside information, or who's injured, or what the weather report is. But that's how he handled my swimming. It's like, you know, do this, do this, do this. And
the details matter.
Yeah, he had me doing like push-ups and sit-ups at home, in addition to all of my other training, which is, you know, a lot. But I was strong, and it helped me.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember doing like 500 sit-ups and 100 push-ups every day at home with him.
And how old were you at the time?
8.
Wow.
7, 8. Yeah.
That's
9.
wild.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a few of your father's accomplishments, just so people who haven't seen the movie may not be aware of how important he was to what Vegas is now and the success that Vegas has had. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on any of these. He was the first one to install sports betting inside a casino.
Correct.
And the first one was at Stardust. Is that right?
Yeah, he created the sports book.
That's incredible. So
Yeah.
it was because these sports books were outside of the casino, and he said, "Why not bring them inside the casino?"
Right.
That's huge. That's a
Yeah,
huge
he
part of
saw that as a way to just hugely increase the bottom line.
it. Is he responsible for, or at least an influence for having gourmet dining be a focal point of casinos as well?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I know he also brought in like the 99-cent breakfast, and that was to attract gamblers.
Yep.
So he, any restaurant that he had, like even in Boca Raton, he wanted to make money on the liquor. So he never made a lot of money off the food, even though the food was high quality. But he was always trying to think of ways like, the female blackjack players, that was to bring the guys in because, and they had to be beautiful because beautiful women attract, men with money. So just things like that.
So there's a scene where he's really picky on, the weight of a dancer in the movie. But in a more general aspect of it, he was focused on, having these women be the blackjack or table dealers. And like you said, bringing guys in. Guys go where girls are, and especially if they have money during that time too.
Yeah, he wanted to attract the high rollers. Yeah.
And did he actually have a local TV talk show?
Yes.
He did. Did that cause a lot of as many issues as it did in the movie? Do you recall?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he was wearing different hats, when he was working for Nevada Properties, but that was just one of the roles that he had to fulfill at the time.
Sure.
So, but it was a great show. I mean, I remember it.
Do you?
So, yeah.
How old were you at the time?
7, 8 years old. Yeah.
That's
but I
cool.
remember going a couple of times, and it was a great show. He had great guests on there. I don't think it was his favorite thing to do.
Sure.
But he did a good job.
And then lastly, he did survive a car bombing, right?
Yes.
That was real. The first scene
Yes.
in the movie Casino is him walking out of, which casino was that, Pauly, where you walked out? Was it Plaza? Main Street Station. And he survived a car bombing that, may or may not have been related to work that he was doing. But that's incredible that he survived that.
Yeah, well, he had 2 kids to take care of, so he needed to get out of the car.
Yeah.
But the general consensus on that is, I know they talk about him having like a steel plate under the car, which they say helped him. But the real truth is that, he opened the door. A lot of people say the door was closed or open.
Right.
It wasn't open. He had to open the door.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Did he ever talk about that with you? Or
yeah, one time he did.
Really?
Yeah. So
How did he get involved in all of this? Because you mentioned Boca Raton as well. How did he even get to Las Vegas in the first place?
well, he was born in Chicago and moved to Miami, and Miami wasn't a good place for him to work. So he knew he needed to come to Vegas. So after being harassed in Miami for ridiculous things that everybody else does, then he just decided just to go to Vegas, and where everything was right at his fingertips.
Is it true that he was banned in 1988?
Yeah, I
from
believe
the
so.
Nevada casinos?
Yeah, which is stupid.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's all political.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal.
Just one person that kind of made that happen.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
too bad.
Yeah.
Your father has a lasting legacy in this city, and unfortunately, fortunately that's not how people remember him.
No, nobody cares about that.
Nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
How much do you know about your mother?
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you as close with her growing up as your dad? I mean, I know you obviously had more time with your dad, but were you as close with your mom as you would have liked to have been, or would you wish you were a little bit closer to her growing up?
Well, she died when I was really young.
How young?
So it's foggy to me. I don't really try to remember all the details, but I think I was about 9, but they also got divorced before that. And then I lived with my dad.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say I was that close to her. I just think I had a very short time with her. And again, swimming a lot, and I didn't have a normal childhood. Like, I wasn't the typical kid just going to school and coming home and playing with my friends. So
Well, I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad you had swimming to at least
Yeah.
keep you away from, things that a child shouldn't be, a part of. And again, the fact that your father was so supportive of you and so helpful with you, I'm sure made the world a difference.
yep.
You mentioned another sibling. Are you close with your other sibling at all?
My brother Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk once in a while.
Is he older or younger?
He's older.
He's older. How much
Yeah,
older?
he's 3 years older.
Was he from both your parents or
Yes.
He was.
Yeah.
Good. What does he live in California too?
He lives in Texas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You ever go to Texas?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
You ever ride horses?
No horses.
No horse riding for you?
We weren't allowed to when we swam. So
That's true. I guess
I just
that's
never
true.
got back into that.
Obviously, you've met Robert De Niro. Did you meet Sharon Stone at all?
I did not meet Sharon Stone.
No.
No.
Was that by choice or was that just by happenstance?
I think she would just kind of went to the set. She, I guess, didn't have a reason to come because she didn't have my mother to study. So I think it was just De Niro coming to my father. I don't know if that was a personal decision or a decision by the director, but
Yeah.
she just never came to Boca Raton, and I never went to the set.
Do you tell people often that who you are, like who your parents are? Does it come up in conversation often, or is it more along the lines of if it comes up, it comes up. If not,
Yeah, I never tell people about it. People seem to find out about it wherever I go. So, but it's not something I've ever spoken about, but it sure finds me quick.
does it?
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that people misunderstood about your upbringing?
Just, there's a lot of comments about my mom, being so wild and crazy. And she wasn't like that. So that's a misconception. My mom just liked to have a good time, no more than anyone
Anybody
else
else.
wants to have a good time in Vegas. So she was just a fun type of girl. That's a little, I would say that's a misconception. But I can't really think of anything else. I mean, we talked a little bit about, I'm very proud of my parents. I
As you should be.
think that from what, my understanding, even in the swimming community, people look at my father like, he's a god. And I know in the gaming industry, like if you go offshore to the booking offices in Costa Rica and Antigua, they highly, he's like a god over there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where your father made such an impact in this city, and I feel like so much has changed since then. How do you feel about where Vegas is currently compared to where your father left it?
I think that anyone that came from old school Vegas really wishes it was still like that. It's lost a lot of that vibe and feel. It's completely different than how it was when I grew up here. So, and my dad always missed that part of Vegas. It changed when my father's whole regime kind of left.
Yeah.
And then it became very commercialized. It's not as personalized anymore. It's bigger. It just has a different vibe and feel to it. So I think everyone would agree the old school Vegas was way better. But it's different times, we're just in a different era.
Different times,
So,
different priorities.
Yeah,
for
and
casino
people
owners.
are just, the whole world's different. So, those guys did handshake deals and, it was a verbal commitment. Nowadays you can't even get people to honor a contract. So
Right.
it's just a whole different, vibe.
You don't have to name names or anything, but do you have casinos or top level people reaching out to you just saying, hey, come on in, or I'd love to take care of you and your family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes.
It happens pretty often.
Yeah.
As it should.
Yeah. I don't throw my name around. I never have,
You
but
don't seem like the type of person.
no,
that
but
name drops.
like I said, it just seems. I still have my maiden name Rosenthal, so it seems to find me. Yeah,
Yeah. You're a mom now too, right?
I'm a mom. Yeah,
Wow.
very
Congratulations.
proud mom.
How many kids do you have?
I have twins that are 4 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
and my grandfather was a twin, so my dad always wanted me to have twins, so it worked out well.
That's so funny.
Yep.
Do you feel what's something that you can take away from your parents that you can instill on your kids growing up or being a mom?
I think, especially as a woman, my dad always told me to stand on my convictions. I have very old school values. A lot of people don't agree with that. I don't really care.
What's an old school value of yours?
I think men should be men, and these days I don't see enough men around.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my ideas of, I was raised by a man,
Yeah.
and the men in my family are men. But a lot of people have different opinions on, I see a lot of women having to lead the way now and, take over the family and be the man. I mean, I just wasn't raised that way. I don't have any issues with that if that's what works for you.
Sure.
I support, everyone's lifestyle, but as far as where I stand or how I'm going to raise my daughter and my son, I think that men should be gentlemen and just, take care of things. It's hard for me to fathom. I feel like we've lost, like, I'm a huge Charlie Kirk fan, huge. So he welcomed everyone's, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But his values were intact, and I wish that, we could bring a lot of that back as well. So, I just feel like people try to push you around and try to make you change the way you think and try to make you feel bad about the way that you think or what you believe in. And I will let my daughter know the same thing that my father let me know, which is stand on my convictions. And, you can be a nice, sweet girl, but you don't need to take any crap, Yep. If you don't have integrity, you have nothing. Mm-hmm. And so for people that, want to lie and cheat and, their word is no good and can't honor their commitments, my dad just had no patience for that. So, he didn't associate with those type of people, and he could smell it like a mile away. So, I think he was really careful, or I know he was careful with who he did business with, but like amongst his group and his circle, if you're the guy that's, not tipping the valet boy, well, that's going to be the last day that he's going to hang around you, because right. You just don't do that to people. Yeah. And I see a lot of that today. Like I see, guys, go into the valet and they don't tip the valet guy or they don't tip the bellman. And it's like, those guys are working for a living just like everyone else is. Why do you feel like you can't, tip them?
Sure.
And I see a lot of guys driving up in Porsches, not tipping.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, it's like you have to, shake your head like, what's going on in the world?
Your children are still young. Have you, are they old enough to even understand the legacy of your family, or, not really yet?
They don't understand the legacy, but I have, big pictures all over my home.
Good. And
their dad, I know, talks to my kids about my father. So, they say that Grandpa Frank and Grandma Geri are in heaven, but they'll, I've gotten comments on social media that like my kids will never know my father. That's not true. It's a stupid comment.
That's an awful comment.
Yeah. But my daughter is my father. I already see it. Mm-hmm. She's got the Rosenthal genes. My son's also amazing. Yeah. But my daughter's like, fierce, and she's fearless, and she's not going to lose in anything. And that comes from my dad, so she's a force. So my kids will know. Yeah. I'm going to teach them everything my dad taught me.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yep.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
My mom is very similar to that. We don't have the same type of impact of our legacy that your family does. My mom's very strong-willed, very independent, and wants to make sure that she passes, that down to me and my brother as well. Yeah. Which I think is so important. So
it's our job as parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So, Pauly, thank you again for even introducing me to Stephanie. This is phenomenal. I am so excited. So the two of you met through a mutual friend. Was this the first time you guys have starting to get to know each other?
Well, the mutual friend that we have, his name is Alan, and he knows who I am, and he knows I'm very into Vegas history.
And I think the guy you brought last time?
He was here last time.
Yeah,
he's a business
big
partner. Guy. And he could see who I was.
Yeah.
And one day he said to me, hey, I know Stephanie Rosenthal. I know Ace's daughter. And I'm like, you know her? He's like, yeah, I could, she could come to Vegas. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I was pretty excited because, Ace Rothstein, I watched that movie. A lot of people say they watch it four times, six. I've watched it 20 to 30 times. And every time it comes on, every part of the movie just grabs me.
Yeah.
And I grew up on Long Island with guys like Ace. You know, they went to the best schools. They went to Harvard. They went to Yale. But they had that drive, and they were smart like him. Stephanie didn't tell the story, so I'll retell it for her. When she was doing the swimming, everybody waited outside, and they would get hot, and it would slow down their competition times. So her dad went out because he was gaming, and he said, how can I make my daughter better? And he rented a trailer, an air-conditioned trailer, and he put her in there, and he cooled her down. So when she went out, she wasn't already hot and getting into hot water and perspiring. And, you know, even if it was a tenth of a second, I mean, Stephanie knows it makes a big difference. Just like it does with horse racing, which her dad was totally into.
I wish I would have had the opportunity to meet your dad. I can imagine that he just...
Don't we all? Don't we all, really?
I imagine he walks into a room and everybody's drawn to him.
Yep.
He just has that aura about him.
Yep.
And even if... I'm glad that you said Niro captured a lot of the mannerisms that he had, which really interests me. Like those non-verbal communicative things, like the arms folded, or like the way he looks. Just those non-verbal things and those small little details, I feel like are so important to creating someone or being this person that is the draw of the room. Gosh, I wish I would have met him. I'm sure he was an incredible guy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Golden Gate Casino, getting rid of all their table dealers and just installing video dealers. Pauly, what do you think?
Well, I have I don't want to say a complicated relationship, but I don't know Derek. But I have tremendous respect for him as a businessman. And look, anything I say, because I don't know him, because he doesn't talk to me, because I have no inside information, because none of his executives talk to me, when I go over there, it's like this. And I can feel it. They're not social media friendly over there because I think they're afraid of not being able to control their own narrative. He's a giver. In order to build such a creative place with the largest screen and the super cool stadium swim and the heated pools and the sports experience, what you're saying is, you have to break that down, and this is the problem with Vegas today. What you're saying is, I want to give you a great experience. I'm going to risk all of my capital, and I'm going to try and give you a great experience. I mean, even the restaurants. I mean, Barry's Downtown Prime, it's one of the best restaurants in Las Vegas. I mean, and Barry is like the nicest guy in the world.
Nice guy.
And I've been in his kitchen. He takes everybody in his kitchen. You know why he takes everyone in his kitchen?
Why?
Because it looks like an operating room.
Yeah.
It's surgically clean. There's not even a dot of sauce on the counter. I don't know what's going on in there, but he's got it. So he's got that great restaurant. But where I'm going with this, and I don't really want to go there with this because it's speculation.
You got to make amends.
Because Derek is such a giver, the fact that he took that out of the Golden Gate has to be financial pressure.
Sure.
That's the way I'm extrapolating it. And I'm assuming it's because Vegas is slower.
Yep.
And I'm really sad that I have to talk so much out of my ass because I have so little information about the Circa. But I will say, again, talking out of my ass, you know, sports gambling is an extremely tight business. Has a very low margin.
Yep.
And the Circa operates on a low margin of a low margin. They're the most aggressive book. They take bets from people. So he's operating on a very slim margin down there. He did spend $1 billion on Circa. It only has 777 rooms. That doesn't even pencil out. I can't in any way pencil out $1.5 million a room downtown prices. I don't care what you come up with. He's got the sports book, which has to be a marginal operation. So it's too bad he's not public so that I could actually read his financials. You know, if you want to send him over, Derek, you know, send over your financials. I'll take a look at them. But circling back, because I'm so verbose. Is that the word, verbose?
Yeah, sure. Let's go
I
with
talk
that.
too much. Circling back, he must be under financial pressure to have done something like that.
That's a good viewpoint.
Because he's not that guy
right.
who's trying to save every dollar in his company. He
brings
built a beautiful
a lot.
hotel. He's got a beautiful sports book. He gives you the best gambling on sports. Like, that's already a magnanimous guy. That's a generous guy.
Yep.
He's got great games. You know, he's got great rules. He's got great this. I mean, what else? How else? What else can I wish I knew.
Listen,
I wish I knew so I didn't have to speculate.
That's a great viewpoint because prior to this conversation, Brian and I actually spoke about this on the show a couple weeks ago. And again, my viewpoint was, why would I leave my home in, you know, Tennessee or whatever when I can just gamble on my computer and come here? But the other side of it is Derek does bring a lot to Fremont Street in general.
Derek saved downtown.
Absolutely did.
And when a giver like him doesn't give anymore, I have to assume it's financial pressure. Because everything else is unbelievable. Like, you don't know this, but at the top of the at the top of the Golden Gate are two, I guess they were old rooms. It's just the top floor. It's only maybe 5 floors, the whole entire building. It dates back to 1905. There's 2 suites up there. Mm-hmm. I mean, these 2 suites, which nobody stays at, nobody knows about, they had to be $3 million each to renovate them, even when he did it. And when I see that, I say to myself, this is what I said to myself, and I've said it in videos. No one other than Derek Stevens would have said, you know what, I'm going to take $6 or $7 or $8 million, and only he knows the number, and I'm going to put it at the top of this building from 1905. In addition to that, he has an entire museum in there with all cool pieces. Yep. In addition to that, who has, this is tying into her now, who has the Sportsbook Hall of Fame? Isn't your dad in the Sportsbook Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So there's like, I think there's maybe 12 people in the Sportsbook Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her dad is one of those. But he's got it in his casino. Like, I just have so much respect for him. You know, I just think he's a great history guy. I think he's one of the people who's really trying to keep Vegas alive.
Yeah.
I'll go on and on about this. So the fact that he had to take the live games out of there had to be under the gun.
Absolutely.
And I did want to chime in on Derek Stevens.
Yeah, please.
I got to know him a little bit when my dad got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Which was when, by the way?
That was 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's a class act. I think he's one of the few, maybe the only casino operator that still walks around and shakes hands with the patrons, hands out business cards. You don't see that anymore. That's like old school Vegas. So I really appreciate that, and I really love that about him. He's a sharp operator, but I've needed a couple things from him, and he'll call me. I don't think you get that type of service anywhere anymore, and I think he has the nicest sports book in Las Vegas. So I have a lot of respect for him.
That's
and what
incredible.
he's doing.
Was your dad as much of a numbers guy as Pauly is?
Yeah.
Just do you see that similarity a lot? Was he even more so than Pauly? Because I feel like Pauly's the most numbers guy I've ever met in my life. Which
I think all gamblers are like that. Professional gamblers.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer that. So even if by some miracle I'm mathematically even to her father, which I know I'm not. So a guy like Ace, a guy like her father, Lefty, he brings in the EQ. He brings in the emotional quotient. He's, they have Niro playing it in the movie, but he's watching everybody. You don't remember, he takes the chips and he goes, you don't lay the chips like that, you lay them like this. He's watching the muffins. He even says it in the movie. You got to watch it. I got everybody trying to steal from me. I got to watch everybody. And I'm paraphrasing, but I think he was saying it when he was
the eye in the sky.
Right, the eye, and so a guy, he's what you would call in baseball a 5-tool guy, right? He's got the super high EQ. Yep. He's got the situational awareness. He has the high intellect. He has the numbers talent, and he's street smart. I mean, that's why he was him.
Yeah.
I'm looking at financials and I'm adding 4 and 7. I do it, and I do an okay job.
Right.
But again, getting back to my military stuff and her dad, I would have been dead. Every once in a while, someone will say to me, Pauly, what do you think of the old days? And they'll realize that a guy like me would have been dead in 5 minutes back then. They would have killed me just from my mouth, of my big mouth.
You're a likable guy. I find that
no,
hard to believe.
I'd be in a hole in the desert, and I know that.
Pauly mentioned that after everything went down with your dad, and we'll wrap up soon. After everything went down with your dad, he stayed in Vegas a few more years.
No, I think we left in 1983.
And where did you go after that?
We moved to Mission Viejo, California, where that was the best swim team in the country at the time. So it was kind of like moving there for swimming and also a change.
When things quieted down for your dad, what changed? Or did you see a change in him? Like when the hubbub and the rush of everything going on in Vegas is no longer his problem, and you are just his main focus now, and your brother. How did he change after retirement, I guess?
Well, he never retired.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he worked until the day that he passed away. So, but as far as not working in Vegas, gambling was a huge part of his life, his own gambling. So he was still a professional gambler, sports handicapper. He did a lot of consulting. And then my swimming took up a lot of time, for him, having 2 young children and raising us by himself.
Yeah.
So, but I think that obviously he wasn't going into the casinos anymore. And he never spoke about it to me until, I was older. But I think that, I think my swimming saved him.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad he wanted to be the best in the world at everything he did. And, my swimming was something that he could redirect that energy into. And that's what he did. So I think when I retired from my swimming career was when he had to think about, now what is he going to do? And so when I retired from swimming, he bought a restaurant in Boca Raton like shortly after that, and then redirected that energy into that restaurant. So,
Beautifully said. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's a side that you don't see of your father in the movie or even history of just, what life is like after the fact.
Yeah, but
So-
always gambling and, doing his thing. I mean, all the screens were up and the setup was there,
That's awesome.
That was a great question, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Hey,
I really like that question.
Well, this was awesome, Stephanie. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing just a portion of your story and your father's legacy and your mom's life. This is incredible. And somebody like you to come in and be able to share that with us, it means so much to me. It means a lot to my family and friends because, we joke around about it, but like my family is from West Orange, New Jersey, and where the Sopranos area was, and mob movies and mob media is a big part of my dad's side of the family. And so when I told everybody about this happening, everybody's really excited for me, and you coming on was just the icing on the cake right here.
Well, thank
great.
you for having me.
Do you sports bet at all?
Do I gamble?
Yeah.
I've never gambled in my life.
I saw Pauly give you some tips on what machine was it, the crapless craps or whatever it was, or
Yeah, we actually hit it was amazing. I was with Alan, and he put a few dollars in the machine, and Alan likes to bet the all tall small. I don't like to bet it because it's like a 15 or 20% house edge. And it only hits one in every, you didn't know this, but it only hits one in every 190 times, 189 times. And they pay you like 156 to 1. But anyway, Alan insisted that we put the 10, 10, and 10.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear it if it hits and we don't have it, So I just kind of, we're friends, and I sort of accommodate him. And so we put it up, and Stephanie played. And, on her roll, she hit the all tall small. We couldn't believe it. I was
saw
just
that on
like,
video. That was incredible.
I was,
What are the
you just
chances of that?
sometimes, I don't want to get too crazy, but the spiritual, I think there's spiritual things that go on. And I think her father has enough of an aura or enough of a spirit, enough power in Vegas still, I know this is some crazy stuff I'm talking, but
No.
you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And I feel like I even said it in the video, I feel like he had a hand in just giving us that moment. Maybe you're granted a couple of moments here, there, and everywhere where you can influence the walking. You know what I mean?
It was a really cool moment. It was a really cool moment.
Yeah,
and
it was.
people who watched it and saw it, and that video has over 400,000 views, which
Good.
I'm so happy about.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the reason for just all of that? Are you promoting anything? You just wanted to share your story that you really haven't gone out and shared your story too often, or because I feel like you're definitely showing up on my algorithm a lot more in the past few weeks. So you're getting out there more, which I love. But are you promoting anything? Are you writing a book? Do you have your own movie coming out?
There's been a lot of people asking me to write like a memoir, so I probably will start working on that.
Good.
But I think because I'm a mom now and I want to carry on the legacy, for my kids and the Rosenthal family, I think it's what my dad would want me to do.
Yeah.
He was had a lot of pride, and so do I. And I just think that I know there's such a draw, to him and his story, and the only person that could really carry on that legacy would be me. So, yeah, that's
Well
what
said.
I'd like to do.
Well, I love seeing you succeed. I follow you on social media now, and I love seeing how happy
Thank
you
you.
and your family are. I think both your parents would have been extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
And excited to see what the next chapter in Stephanie's life is.
Thank you.
And Pauly, I want to talk about you for just a quick second before we wrap up. I want to thank you because you sent me such a heartfelt message that I don't even think you understand how much of an impact it was. You said that you've been hanging around Stephanie,
Right.
and you want her to come in, and you chose me
Right.
to sit down with her. You've been on 50 or so podcasts, and you have connections all over town. You literally could have gone anywhere with her, and you referred her to me, which meant the fucking world to me.
Well, I wanted her to be in kind hands.
Yes.
You know, I wanted someone who was going to be thorough,
Yeah.
but also I don't want to feel any. Sometimes when you have an interview or you have a situation, you can almost feel a little. You know, we would call it zutz when I was growing up. You feel a little of the, trying to put the knife in just a little bit. And I know that you don't have a bone like that. You know, you would say he doesn't have a mean bone in his body.
The fact that you're here, the fact that you're sharing your story is phenomenal, and this is so cool. So thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Stephanie Rosenthal, thank you. Vegas Pauly C, thank you for getting this all set up and together. This is fun. It's always fun seeing you.
So much gratitude.
We love you here at the Hey BigHead Show.
Thank you.
How do you feel about the Tangier shirt, by the way? Do you like it?
I love it.
Yeah?
I love it. Yep.
Big thank you to Battleborn Pins, who quickly printed this up and got
That's
us
awesome.
together. This is great.
Yep.
But new episodes every week on the Hey BigHead Show, heybighead.com. Thank you guys for coming in, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that went really